everyone, this is Sam with the Wine News in 5. Today I'll discuss the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, suing Southern Glazers, a new geographical indication in Argentina, Treasury's newest acquisition in China, dietary guidelines in Finland, and harvest estimates for South Africa. First up, the FTC suing Southern Glazers. On Thursday, December 12th, the FTC sued Southern Glazers, the U.S.'s largest alcohol distributor, for price discrimination. The press release from the FTC states, "Since at least 2018 and continuing today, Southern has repeatedly discriminated in price between disfavored independent purchasers, which include neighborhood grocery stores, local convenience stores, and independently owned wine and spirits shops, and favored large chain purchasers of wine and spirits, such as Total Wine & More, Costco, and Kroger." Of course, anyone who has bought consumer products for retail sale knows that you can get hefty discounts if you buy at volume. And that's what Southern says they were offering. Their press release states, the FTC's lawsuit takes issue with the use of volume discounts that Southern Glazers and nearly every distributor of consumer products in the country uses to lower customers' costs and enable consumers to pay lower prices for the everyday goods they need. Now here's where it gets tricky. Volume discounting is not illegal, but as the FTC Commissioner Alvaro M. Bedoya points out in his statement, under the Robinson-Patman Act, suppliers can provide different prices when those differences derive from greater efficiency and there is a legitimate cost savings to the supplier from supplying more of a product to a certain buyer. However, the FTC alleges that Southern's discounts for large national chains are not derived from differences in their cost distributing products to larger retailers, nor do they reflect legitimate attempts to meet prices offered to chain retailers by competing distributors. Quite honestly, the only thing surprising about this is that the FTC is using a law that they have rarely put to use in the last quarter of a century, because for years, critics argued that it protected the inefficiencies of smaller retailers and raised prices for consumers. And there may be some truth to that, but I think that all of us should think about how this affects our ecosystem. If Southern wants to sell volume, which clearly they do, they'll push large volume brands to large volume retailers. If they're successful at that, which they have been, they are one of the US's 10 largest privately held companies and sell 1 out of every 3 liquor bottles in the US, that results in less diversity of retailers. And because chain retailers often carry the same products, that results in less diversity of wines available. And that eventually results in fewer winemaking companies and less diversity of wine jobs. And if you hate this thought experiment, no matter where you are in the world, the best thing you can do is to buy from locally owned retailers who are excited about the producers they represent. I wish the FTC luck. On to a new geographical indication in Argentina. This is older than I would like. I did not hear about it until it was posted on the Wines of Argentina blog on December 2nd. But back on July 8th, Tandil became Argentina's newest geographical indication. Tandil GI is a small rectangle southeast of Buenos Aires surrounding the town of Tandil. Soils are largely sandstone and quartz, and the area currently grows Cab Franc, Carmenere, Syrah, Sauvignon Blanc, and Merlot. While there are around 20 vineyards in the area, the only commercial producer is Cordon Blanco, who lobbied for the creation of the GI. On to Treasury's newest acquisition in China. On December 10th, Treasury announced their purchase of a 75% stake in Stone and Moon Winery in the Ningxia province for $17.9 million US. The purchase includes 43 hectares of vineyards, the winery, and a tasting room. The company had previously been purchasing Cabernet Sauvignon and Marcelon from Stone and Moon for their China origin Penfolds wines, including one by Penfolds and CWT 521. Treasury's been making wine from China-grown grapes since 2022, but this is their first purchase of a Chinese wine brand. While the reason that Treasury is investing more in Chinese wine production is almost certainly because the tariffs that were levied on Australian wine wildly disrupted their business model, it's cool that their solution to that is to invest more in the local market of a place that they have historically relied upon so heavily for exports. On to new dietary guidelines in Finland. On November 27th, Finland launched their new national nutrition recommendations. The recommendations state, roughly translated from Finnish, Since it has not been possible to set a safe limit for the use of alcohol, it is not recommended. However, if alcohol is used, the amount should be as small as possible. The previous recommendation was for at most 1 drink a day for women and 2 for men. Felicity Carter, writing for Meiningers, asked a couple members of the Finnish wine trade if they expected the change to impact consumption. She quoted Heidi Mäkinen, MW, portfolio manager and partner of wine importing company Viniti, who replied, "I really don't think these guidelines will be the reason why people are drinking less also here as elsewhere around the world. Consumption is decreasing here too, but this is due to the overall health trend on top of likely economical reasons." Unfortunate as it may be that Finland seems to have jumped on the World Health Organization's no safe level bus, I do appreciate that their guidelines go beyond human health. The new recommendations suggested reducing consumption of meat and coffee, of which Finland has the highest per capita consumption in the world, for both health and environmental reasons. Finally, the first harvest estimates for South Africa. South Africa Wine, the country's national wine body, published the first of its 2025 harvest estimates on December 11th. So far, the crop looks to be larger than last year, but still on par with the second smallest crop in the last 2 decades, and quality thus far looks to be good. Producers, however, are still 2 to 3 months out from harvest, so we'll keep you updated. That's all for this episode of the Wine News. If you enjoyed this newscast and you'd like to see it continue, please subscribe to jancesrobinson.com. And if you have breaking news in your area, please email news@jancesrobinson.com.